Hi and welcome to the Bookkeepers Podcast. I'm Zoe Whitman. I'm here with Jo Wood and Libby Walklett from the Ethical Bookkeeper. Hi Libby, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Busy as always, but yeah, I'm okay.
Oh, it's really nice to see you. We had a nice chat with Libby a week or so ago when we were talking with the AAT as well, and I think we didn't feel like we got enough of you. We didn't cover all the things we'd love to have spoken to you about on that session. So we're really excited to learn about your practice. Now, Libby, growing up, we talk about success all the time. We have the success program and the success lounge, and success is what it's all about for us. But I think people often have this kind of misconception that they're like, well, I'm, 6 figures isn't my goal, so I don't know if this is the community for me. But actually, we really know that success means different things to different people. And what I'd really love to know from you is, when you started on your journey to run your own business, what were you hoping for when it comes to success? What would success look like for you?
Well, I'm not exactly money driven. I'm not bothered about being rich. I just want enough. It was more about the flexibility and being able to be there for my family. So I have a lot of caring responsibilities. So my idea of success is probably quite different to other people's ideas. And that's okay. So running my own business, so I went fully self-employed in December. I've now gone limited and VAT registered. I thought I'd get in there early because that's always been Jo's advice as well, and yours. So I took your advice, and it's given me the ability to be able to work how I want to and when I want to, and that's been the biggest thing, because my mum's been seriously ill recently, and a lot of the admin has been during the day. It's all the phone calls, the visits. There's so much, unbelievable amount to sort out. And if I'd been working in an office 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, I'd have been incredibly unreliable. I'd have been on the phone all the time. It's out of my control. It has to be dealt with, and I'm the only one that can deal with that. But this way, if I need to drop everything, I can, and then I can work evenings if I need to, or weekends, or I can get up early, or I can work on the bank holiday if I choose to, because I've been able to do what I need to do during the week. So it means I need to make up for it. I can do that, and it's fine. So in terms of success, it might not be everybody's idea of what a successful business is, but it works for me and my family.
And I think it's really interesting, Libby, that I think you'd be surprised. I think a lot of people do want flexibility as a goal. And I think, obviously coming out of COVID, lots of people felt that they also wanted security and something that actually that they could control, regardless. They're not scared. None of us are scared of putting in the hours. None of us are scared of working, but we just sometimes can't work in the traditional 9 to 5. And I think, for me, when I started, it was because I had a newborn baby 20 years ago, and I wanted, I didn't want to go back to the 9 to 5. But I know me and you speak about the fact that we are called like a sandwich, we're the sandwich generation, because we've still got children that we're bringing up and into the world. But then we've got parents and, people that we need to be looking after at the moment. And I'm going through the same, my mother-in-law passed away, and there's a lot of admin and things that need to be done. And you can't decide on those hours of the day when you need to do these things. So, and health issues, etc., they don't run on a timetable which allows you to go and be really present 9 to 5 and then, deal with health in the evenings. It doesn't work like that, does it? So I think it's something that maybe everybody wants some of it, but it feels more normal to talk about, I'm going to go and earn loads of money. And I tell you why as well. I think people if you've been brought up in a family that self-employment isn't the norm, or other people get scared for you. So I think it's easier for you to say, well, I'm going to earn more money doing this way, because they can understand that. But if you're saying I'm going to build more flexibility, they might think it's a bit wishy-washy and don't really understand your motives and think, well, you're putting yourself at risk, and it's a very risky situation, and they care for you. So I think there's a lot of things as to why people don't admit openly at the beginning of their journey that I'm doing it for flexibility. And no, it's okay. So question for you: you've named your business the Ethical Bookkeeper. What's the story behind that?
It's sort of come from a number of previous jobs, really. So there's the whole ethical, looking after the environment, looking after the planet, supporting small local businesses, people that pay their taxes, maybe not the huge corporations that dodge them. I won't go into that in too much depth. But I've also come across a few unethical people at work, and I didn't want to work with people like that. And I was really determined to build myself a business that I could be proud of, and proud of what it stands for. So it's, it is only me at the moment, but certainly I will be looking to take on some employees in the future, and I want to be able to give people opportunities that they might not have otherwise been able to have. So I'm looking at the apprenticeship schemes to give somebody a really good start in life so that they can see how it all works. And maybe other people that are carers, whether doesn't matter if it's children, disabled, elderly parents as well. So people that have got so much to offer and so much to give back, but they can't do a traditional Monday to Friday 9 to 5 job. I wish I'd had that when I'd had my children. I wanted to work flexibly. I had some, it was quite a long time ago now, and I had some issues with that. And so they lost me in the end, and they'd lost all my skills. And it's such a shame. You just give a little bit and you get so much back. Employees are your greatest asset. So I really want to look after my employees. I want to build relationships with my suppliers. I want to pay them on time or early. It's just little things like that, and looking after your clients and treating them with respect. It's all of those things that I want to do, and just be a good person and treat people properly, because life is short, and why would you be any other way? It's also steering well clear. So it's like my invisible force field. I wanted to steer clear of anybody that wanted to do anything remotely dodgy, so that they wouldn't even contemplate working with me. They'd take one look at my business name and think, not going to use her. I hear so many horror stories all the time from other accountants and bookkeepers, more often than not involving, Dave down the pub, who's got all the answers. I don't want those sort of clients. So that was, hence the reason for the name.
Oh, love that, Libby. Thank you for sharing that. Tell us about, so I love all this about flexibility, and I think we can't talk about this enough, because I think this is such a big challenge in the industry, and it's one of my things, definitely. And I'm, people in our community will know my husband hasn't been very well, so I get it, like all of the phone calls in the day, and you just have to do all the things, don't you? It's just how it is. When you're in that, when you've got all those challenges coming at you, so you're working, and then you've also got life stuff happening around to you, how are you keeping motivated, Libby? What are you focusing on to keep the momentum happening?
So first of all, my first top tip would be that you get that network around you. So you find the support, whether that's your family, your friends, whether it's your mates from the Six Figure Bookkeepers, which is my greatest source of comfort and inspiration. And, you guys and everyone in the group are the people that keep me going. That's really important, because I know it's difficult, and it would be very easy to give up, to go and sit in bed and not want to get up in the morning. So it's a real combination of things. So it's the small incremental gains that make all the difference to the business. So it might be things like finding a new app, a software package, a better bank account, the talk that you've offered to do, the podcast, chatting on social media posts, making those real human connections, particularly at accountancy shows or networking events. And it doesn't need to be one huge push, which, if you do that, you might regret it if you end up with an equally huge influx of work. So, and it's okay to be slow. It's the combination of all those small advances that, gradually they build your business, they build your confidence. So you use all the resources you can find. So some people will, I don't want to generalize, some people hide behind the software. The software won't make up for a lack of experience or knowledge. So if you're not at a point where you want to use it and it's stressing you out and giving you the overwhelm, then don't use it. That's okay. But if you're going to use it, I mean, I use things like Dashlane for my passwords. So I probably don't use every single aspect of it. But if I can log on from my phone, my computer, my iPad, and I've got all of those passwords saved, then that's going to make my life a little bit easier. How much time do you spend changing passwords and going, oh, I can't remember what the password is? It's little bits and pieces here and there. So I've got rid of my second mobile phone. I'm now using Circle Loop for my phone calls. That's been really good, very easy to use. It doesn't cost me very much. Using things like Canva, and then it's using stuff. So I use a software called otter.ai to do my voice notes. So if I'm out and about and I think, oh, I really want to jot some notes down, I'll do it on there, and then it transcribes for you, and it's free. And I think that free apps, even if you're just using them a little bit, is better than nothing at all. So I don't get stressed that I'm not using every single feature of a software, because if it just helps to take some of that pressure away, then it's worth doing, isn't it? So, and then it's the, I also use my iPhone for reading documents. So if you've got a long report to read, there's a feature on your iPhone that you can use to read it. So you can be making the dinner at the same time as listening to a report. And all the books that I read, I use Audible. It's no good me trying to read at bedtime, because I instantly go to sleep if I read a book. So Audible is great, which means that I can be getting exercise, getting some fresh air, going for a walk in the woods at the same time as listening to a book and learning. I saw an owl last night.
Oh,
I actually saw an owl. I looked up, there was an owl in the woods. I looked at it, it looked at me. I tried to take a photo, and then off it flew. Amazing.
Love it.
So, but like, sometimes it's okay as well not to be listening to a book and learning something. It's okay if you need to go out and just listen to some music because that's good for you, then do it, or dance around your kitchen. So it's fine. It's use everything you can and balance your mental health at the same time.
Balance is the word, isn't it? It's about finding that way that you can build a business that works for you, which is what we always say, and that is very personal to everybody, but we've got to kind of tune into our boundaries. Kath was talking to us about boundaries yesterday, wasn't she? And just knowing where they are and what is and isn't going to work for us, and then thinking, okay, how do I get a bit more of myself back today? Because I have too much over here and I need to be a bit more over here, and how do we do that? So I love hearing about, like, thinking, right, okay, that I can do that bit of that is going to help me, but I don't need to do all of that. The problem I need to solve is in that specific aspect there, and for now that's fine.
Yeah, and if you're multitasking as well, then it's using your time in the most efficient way, because you can't do it all. Think even things like getting enough sleep, switch everything off. If you can get enough sleep, everything feels a little bit better. I don't have a problem sleeping, thank goodness. But after a good night's sleep, everything feels a little bit better in the morning. All the things that you might have worried about the day before have kind of settled, and then you're ready to go for it. So that's key for me as well.
Absolutely. Libby, you often talk about I think it's fair to say we all have that kind of fight with ourselves about our expertise and whether we're good enough. And when you spoke about your journey with AAT and going through the qualification, and when they called you back and asked you if you would tutor, you were like just amazed that they even thought you were good enough. And I think we all have that kind of fight. Am I good enough? Am I not? But you have done some, like, you really work your network. Like, you are now happy with the fact that you are not the expert in it. And I can see that in how you use apps as well. Like you said, I'll use it that bit, but I don't need to know everything about it. I don't need to be the best, and I don't need to be the expert of everything about that thing. I need it for that. That works. And you've made peace with that. And it seems like since we've got to know you and like known you for a while now, is that you seem to have got a lot better with the fact that you are not an expert in everything. I mean, you are bloody amazing at a lot of things, but you also you use your network to build your confidence. Do you want to talk about how you do that?
I'm not entirely sure. So I think it basically comes down to the fact that I like people. But if you'd seen me at the first networking, so I went to Accounting Web, that was a couple of years ago now, and I didn't know anyone, and it was massive and daunting, and we were coming out of COVID, and it was all quite scary, and I found a couple of people to hang about with that I sort of knew a bit. It's incredible to see the difference between where I was then and where I am now, even to the point where it's pretty much the anniversary for me of Accountex. So last year I couldn't even get on a train on my own. I hadn't been on a train for donkey's years. I'd never been on my own. The thought of going to London, navigating the underground, was terrifying. So I travelled halfway across the country. I stayed in a hotel in Chelmsford where I used to work, and I met with Carly Clark. Hi, Carly. And Carly used to travel into London all the time. So she went with me. She helped me with she couldn't go on the second day, so I was going to have to go on my own. So she told me where to get on, where to get off. She kept an eye on me all the way in. She was absolutely brilliant. I'd taken photographs of the stations. Sounds ridiculous now. And between now and then and up until now, really, I've been to London numerous times. So I've been in for the AAT, we've been to the Shard for the book launch, I've been to all the other accountancy events. I'm on and off the train all the time. I do it all on my own. It's incredible. But I think, you know, in terms of networking, getting out there, so don't think that I don't have all the answers. And it isn't easy because you're constantly pushing yourself to do something that you feel a little bit uncomfortable about. But I like people, and I think that that's where it comes from. And I'm used to speaking with a massive range of people with different backgrounds of, you know, all sorts of people. So from the teaching, and a lot of it comes from appearing on stage and doing my amateur dramatics and operatics, because you know, you're meeting with people from such a wide range of backgrounds there and ages, and you talk to all of them all the time. So it doesn't bother me. I'll talk to anyone. And actually, the more things you go to, the more people you start to engage with. So when you go back the second or third time to an event, you've actually started to grow your network, because you think, oh, I'm going to go and pop and see this software supplier and that software supplier. And oh, look, there's my friend from the Six-Figure Bookkeepers. So it does get easier. But what I did find as well, so last year my sister-in-law passed away, and it was really sudden. And I think at that point, I did think, I don't care anymore. I could be dead tomorrow. I'm just going to go for it. So that was when I became a bit more active on social media, and I got a bit more confident in my posts. And I thought, hang on, this is my business. I'm going to do it the way that I want to. So I just chat to people on social media like I do face to face. And I've built up a following. Apparently, I'm quite famous on social media. I disagree, but I would. So. Yeah, I think the thing is, and it's don't look at where I am now, look at where I was a year and a half ago, because it is just lots of little things. And once you book something, you're then committed to go into that event. So you can just deal with that, just compartmentalize things. So I'm going to just do that event. Don't go like, oh, in a year and a half, I want to be like Libby and talking to everybody and licking. I don't actually lick people. I did lick Claire that one time, but you know, we'd had a few. So it's just lots of little things, lots of little steps. Don't compare yourself to somebody that's way ahead on that journey. If you guys look back at where you were 3 years ago, look how far you've come as well.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Do you know what? We were talking to Jill in our team about this yesterday, and she said, you know, you girls, you should just remember what your first videos were like. And we're like, all right, don't rub it in. But that's the thing, like, I think people think often, it comes easy to them because they do it all the time, but it only becomes easy to us because we do it all the time. And I think that's it, Libby. You've made those small changes. It's those marginal gains, like you said, those incremental little micro goals that you're setting for yourself. So although it's not like there's been this it's like an evolution. You've gone from this place. There was obviously this trigger for you last year, and you were like, hang on, I've got, I'm going to take control now. This is my decision. This is what I want to do with myself and my business. And then you've just built on that steadily, because like you said, you've got to still have balance, and you've got to do it around family and other commitments and things that you've got going on. So you can just keep that momentum, and then it builds. So it was really interesting to hear what you're saying about, how you felt about going to your first event, because obviously there are a lot of events coming up this year. What would you say to somebody who's going to their first accountancy event this year? Like, how can they get there and not feel, how can they go there and feel comfortable with it if it's not what they would normally do?
So I would definitely suggest the first thing is to try and find somebody to go with or to tag along with, and then you don't feel so alone. There are so many people who are nervous about it, who have never been, who are not used to these events. It just terrifies them. See if you can find someone to go with, and just team up. That would be the first thing. Or if you can't plan to meet somebody there when you get there, or find, if you've got maybe your professional body might be there, or if you belong to the 6FB group, then we'll all be, there'll be loads of us there, I'm sure, so come and find one of us as well. Also, I would look at what's going on before the event. So for Accountex, there's an app. You can see who the speakers are, what all the talks are, where they are. It's really overwhelming when you get there. You will walk in, there will be tons of people, loads of stands, and the software the software suppliers, let's face it, they're there to do a job, and that's sales. So I kind of walk like this because I don't want to be tempted by any other softwares. But if you can have a look and think, right, I'm already working with Xero, Sage, QuickBooks, whoever you're working with, I'm going to go along, just have a little chat with them, say, oh, I'm one of your customers. Go and have a little chat with them. That might help you to settle in. Or you might want to go and meet with other suppliers. So it might be, I'll give them a mention, it might be accountancy manager that you're kind of thinking about using that software, and you want to go and have a demo, and you can actually connect with somebody in the team, speak to them face to face while you're there, and that will make you feel better. So plan a little bit. And maybe you want to go to some particular talks so you can see where they're going to be. Have a look at the layout, where all those stands are going to be, and how the numbering system works, and what time you need to be at a particular talk. So you've got a bit of a plan, and just allow a little bit of flexibility in there as well for coffee and cake, and just chatting to friends. But when you're there, you get so much more you can get out of it. It's not just the talks, it's not just meeting with software suppliers, it is actually making those relationships, building them. It's networking, it's talking to other bookkeepers and accountants about what they do every day, what their top tip is, just getting to know people, because that will continue. You'll be still talking to those same people that you connected with next week, in 6 months' time, in 6 years' time, who knows? So don't see it as just, it's a CPD event and I'm going to go and learn some stuff. I'm going to listen to HMRC waffle on about why they can't answer the phones in less than 52 minutes. It's so much more than that. And the more you throw yourself into it, the more you'll get out of it. Plus, you've got the parties and the breakfasts and things like that. So you've got all of those additional opportunities to go and speak to people, and find people that you really connect with, that you really like. And it's the gift that keeps on giving. Definitely just throw yourself into it.
Amazing advice. And I cannot believe, I'd forgotten that. I remember now you turning up at Accountex, and you showing, I think you showed me a picture of you at a train station or something, and you was like, I've got here by myself. And now looking at the Libby, and I see you like Libby you've got a tour jacket, and you literally tour the country meeting with other bookkeepers. I hadn't put those two together. Like, I'd forgotten that Libby was around back a year ago, because it does seem such a journey you've been on. And so you've been on this confidence journey. And this is the thing, it's not all about the money.
No.
It's about so many things. And your confidence journey. I mean, as well, can we just say at the PQ Awards last week, you performed in front of how many hundreds of people? I mean,
yeah, a lot
of people, and you couldn't get on a train this time last year without having someone support you. It's actually mind-blowing.
Well, I'm just disappointed that I didn't win the PQ Accountancy Personality of the Year, but I'm going to go for that again.
I think you should go for it next year. I think, yeah.
It was a tough category when you see who was in it. So, it's not surprising. I have, literally, I'm just going to come out of shot a bit. I have, on my desk, I still have all my train tickets. So I've got Xerocon, Digital Accountancy Show, and Accountex. And it's like my journey. I can't get rid of them, because you forget how far you've come. You look at the things that you're not doing. I'm not good enough. I don't have the qualifications. I don't know how to use this software. I'm not doing what that person's doing. Oh God, look at that.
Yeah.
That's enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so easy as well I look at other people in the group, and I think, oh, that person's doing that, and that person's doing that, and that one's got an amazing tech background, and look at all of the things that they can do. But what happens in your head, they kind of all merge together, and you start to, I'm sure your mind plays tricks on you, and you think everybody's doing all of these things, and you start to feel like you're not good enough, and I should be doing those things. And then you push yourself to the limits. Well, the reality of it is that there are still bookkeepers and accountants out there who can barely use software, who don't have any social media going on, who don't even have a website, who probably don't even have, I know of an accountant who has a Hotmail email address. There are people that are not doing anything. We are well ahead of them, even if we're not doing everything. And the more you allow this to get into your head, the more you will really push yourself, and you will push yourself to a point where you'll burn out. And I've seen it happen numerous times. You've got to try, and it's really, I don't have the answers. I'm not an expert. Just remind you of that. We've got to try and find the balance. And sometimes that's why we need these groups, these friends, these networks of other people and other business owners, because you need someone else to say to you, hang on a minute, slow down, go for a walk, put the kettle on, dance around the kitchen, write a to-do list, do a brain dump, because you're so in it and you're pushing yourself so hard that you can't see what's happening to you. And then you've got somebody that's ill, or you get ill yourself, that's it. You've tipped yourself over the edge, you won't cope. So you've got to try to allow that space to do the nice things, which actually takes me on to the fact that I went to Chessington last week with Annabelle Barnes, bookkeeper extraordinaire as well. And, so I had to work some of the bank holiday, but we had an absolutely brilliant day out together. It was amazing. We had a laugh. She wouldn't go on the log flume because she doesn't like getting wet, so I had to go on my own. And I did. It was fun. But so it gives us a really nice day out, away from the desk, away from everything. But we spent all day talking about bookkeeping and accountancy and, so many other things as well. So actually you've had a day working on your business, but you've also had an awesome day out. So, it's balanced, but in a slightly different way, and maybe in a way that other people wouldn't think of doing it. It's not the first thing that comes to mind, is it?
No, but I think you're right. We've got to be really aware of our tendency, because we care about what we do and we want to throw everything into it. And we do, particularly when we're juggling other life things, we have this tendency to burn out, and we see it regularly. So we have to kind of have that plan, don't we? So, if something comes up in life, we're ready for it and we've got a plan. How do you make sure, Libby, like if you've got other you said about sort of shifting work around, and maybe like you'd have a day off one day and then maybe do a bit of work over the weekend. And I guess you kind of made your peace with that's going to work for me in terms of the pattern that I need. How do you make sure that you've got that free space so that if something comes up, you can, I don't know, like an appointment or something with a family member, that you can then move work around? Do you allow yourself that breathing space in the diary?
So the diary gets full quite quickly, because I'm also I'm a trustee for the AAT, so things like that go into the diary a year ahead, so they're set in stone. And then I've got other things. So the accountancy events for me at the moment are a non-negotiable. I'm going. And that's, that covers my CPD. It covers the mental health, because I'm going to have a laugh and have some fun while I'm there, as well as learning. And then I try to get in any other appointments. So there's always stuff, orthodontist for the kids, both of them. The medical appointments. Actually, what I'm in very good health. It all happens around me. So we've got like Google Calendar with everybody's appointments on it, so I can see what's coming up, and I can plan around it. So what actually happens is that the work needs to be very fluid and flexible. So I do try to have a couple of days when I'm at my desk most of the day, and then if I need to work later in the evening, or if I need to work at the weekend, then all of that's quite flexible as well. So I'm quite lucky in that respect, that my clients are not massively demanding. They don't want me there every single day. They don't need particular days of the week. So it does give me a lot of flexibility. But it is difficult. Sometimes you literally have to drop everything. So I've had a phone call just before this about mum's continuing care needs, and that's not in my diary. That's have you got time to talk to me now? Okay, yes, I have. So at the same time as I'm doing that, I'm thinking, right, so the work that I would have done, I'm now going to do that. Okay, I'll have to work a little bit later this evening. How do I still get my walk in the woods into this evening as well? So that's why I'm using the tech as well, just to assist me in any way it can. I'm really keen not to lose the human touch that I've got. It's about me, and it's about the people. I don't want to automate everything, but if I can use some of that to help me, brilliant, just to take some of the pressure off.
Sounds good. I'm loving the idea of having a walk in the woods and potentially seeing an owl at night. And that would be a very, very nice way to like wrap out off the day and like put work to one side. I've noticed it's something really strange. I once, because I work from home, it's hard to sometimes get out of that headspace and be in work mode and turn into mum mode and go. And so for me, I have to either like, I don't know, get the Hoover out and physically like I'm now mum mode, or it has to be a physical act, or start cooking. It's like that's my transition. I have to physically do something. If I just walked in here and went to sit on the sofa, my brain would be thinking, of work, and I wouldn't turn into mum. So we have to find these, and getting out in nature is one of those things. It kind of like, draws a line in what you've just done before, and then you get to choose what you do afterwards. And it's those little tips that you have to learn that no one teaches you. How do you run a business from home and still have a home life? Things like that. It's these things we have to learn as we go along. So Libby, what you said at the moment, you are the business at the moment. It's you on your own, but maybe one day you might want to grow. You've been on such a personal journey over this last year. If we were to talk this time next year, what would you hope to have achieved in that year? What are the goals and the things you want to get over? I mean, confidence wise, goodness knows, if you have the same confidence journey by this time next year, I mean, you're going to be on Britain's Got Talent or something.
Oh, and I have a secret I can't tell you either, Jo, but you know, I can't. Yeah, so it's quite. You just never know what might be coming. So it is quite exciting. I have I've got a couple of talks coming up at the Growth Hub. So you do them free. You do like a 3-hour workshop, and I'm hoping that I might pick up some new clients that way. But I've kind of decided which direction I want my business to grow in. But I've got a lot of other kind of backup plans. So if everything falls apart, I've got a number of routes that I can go down where people have said to me, if you're looking for any work, please come and see me. So that's always quite reassuring, because it's quite scary, and particularly going from employed work to fully self-employed took me a long time. It is a big worry as to how you're going to keep that income. So I think I've got some stuff coming that way. I want to try and have a much more solid process in my business, so more streamlined. And I think what's caused me some issues has been where you go to a bigger business and they've already got everything set up and you have to adapt to their way of working, and that's quite hard. And they also sometimes can't get out of that employee mindset. So I think it's not quite worked for me in the way that I'd hoped. So I'm going to be a little bit firmer about who I'm working with and what softwares I'm using, and have people from earlier on in their businesses where they don't quite know what they need, and I can get in there early on and then guide them so that we end up with this lovely process, which also means that it'll be easier for me to employ, because we'll all be using the same software and everyone will be going through the same process. And so I also know that I will continue to have responsibilities to mum, and that even if she's in a care home, it's not going to end now. I don't know quite how long this is going to go on for or what form it will take. So if I look at sort of this time next year, I still know that I need some flexibility built into my business. So I'm not going to have a massive push in terms of growth, because I think it would be too much for me to cope with. And if things go wrong, it's quite a dangerous situation, isn't it? So I'm not a massive risk taker. I'm sure that other people would go for it, but I'm just going to go softly, look after myself first, because if I don't look after me, then I'm not going to be able to look after anybody else. So I think there'll be some changes. It would be really interesting to look back at this chat and do it again next year, and then see where things have moved on to. I can't imagine, if I'd look back to last year, I can't imagine that and I'm in a book.
Oh, lovely. Yeah. I love that. You get to choose what your business looks like, and you get to go at the pace that you want to go at. That's totally okay. So you choose what you feel comfortable with, and you take it a step at a time. That's like you've said all the way through this interview, it's the way to make those incremental gains while you're feeling like you're growing the business in the way that's right for you. That's got to be what it's about, and that's the way to keep the balance and all the things we've been talking about during this session. It's been lovely to hear from you, Libby. Thank you ever so much for sharing about your journey. I love watching you grow in confidence. Every time I see you, you just light up the room, and you've always got a group of people around you, because like Libby is where the action is. So
other people tell me I'm a star. I've been told that everybody needs some Libby in their life. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I think the people that I want to work with as well, I want it to be people that want that extra support. They want accountability. They want somebody that they can bounce ideas off, and somebody that goes the extra mile. And I think somewhere I've got this real energy and enthusiasm that's contagious. So when I work with people that I really connect with, I know that we can build something amazing, because then I'll have your best interests at heart. I'll want what's best for you. So I wouldn't just want to work with anyone. I just want to work with the people that I know will get the greatest benefit from it. and there's no point in working with people if your heart's not in it. So for me, it's all about the people that I want to work with. That's so important. You just, you've got that much energy, you work with somebody else, and you can achieve anything.
Aww.
Really. And I try, and at the moment I try to do that with some of the other bookkeepers. So like I say, I don't have all the answers, but together you can really build something amazing. So just more of that, really.
Amazing. Oh, look, thank you ever so much for today, and thanks everyone who's been here, and all the great, everyone loves you, Libby, all the great comments here about you.
I haven't even seen any comments.
We're looking forward to catching up with you at Accountex and all the other events this year. Thanks everyone. Thanks ever so much, Libby, and we will see you next time for another episode of the Bookkeepers Podcast. Take care. Thank you.
Accountex.
Bye.